Hello again. So, this week I was supposed to be making salt prints, and I did that. But then I got a little bit distracted by this. This is a Larbour at Secretin Petzval lens from the late 1850s. The focal length is 220 millimeters, and it's a speedy f3.8. Larbour's is one of the earliest and most respected lens makers of all time. They started out making microscopes and microscope lenses in the early 1800s, and then started making photographic lenses right at the start of the photographic period. I love the look of the lacquered brass, and check out this cone stop. This was before the use of Waterhouse stops. The lens drive mechanics aren't in great shape, but that's okay. I don't usually use them. This is a really cool feature. They would scratch the serial numbers of the lens onto the lens elements. This really small rice writing is on the rear element. So, who is John Mawson? His name is on the lens, but who is he? Well, he was originally from Penrith. He was a pharmacist. When he moved to Newcastle in 1839, he established a manufacturing chemist business called Mawson and Company. Photography was gaining in popularity, and once the new discipline was established, he began to produce and supply chemicals and materials associated with it. Around 1844, Joseph Swan joined the business. Swan would go on to become an important photographic inventor as well as an engineer. He and Mawson worked to create a photomicrographic camera that could more easily photograph microscope slides and objects using microscope lenses. In the summer of 1854, Mawson announced in the Journal of the Photographic Society that he held the sole license from Fox Talbot for making photographic portraits in the Newcastle area. In the 1850s, Mawson and Company would become one of the foremost suppliers of collodion products. They reputedly had the best collodion available. In 1858, Mawson was elected to the Newcastle Town Council. Around this time, he bought at least 2 lenses from Larbour Secretin. One was this 350mm f3.9 with serial number 8454. This lens covered whole plate and 8x10. The other was our 220mm, covering half plate and quarter plate. He had his name engraved on both of them. In January 1864, he made Joseph Swan a partner, and the business became Mawson and Swan. On November 9, 1867, Mawson was elected sheriff of Newcastle. About a month later, in December, Mawson, in his role as sheriff, was called to dispose of barrels of nitroglycerin found in the cellar of a merchant in the heart of Newcastle. Tragically, he and 7 others were killed when it all exploded. His wife Elizabeth took over the running of the business. So, how are we going to mount this lens? Well, the way lenses mount to these cameras is that the lens screws into the lens flange, and the lens flange is attached to the lens board. Now, the lens board on this particular camera is quite small. The flange for the new lens is a bit bigger. We also have some clearance issues to deal with. So what I did was I prototyped this lens board out of plywood with a Dremel tool. Yeah, it's a mess, but the idea is sound. And if I mount the lens flange upside down, we solve the clearance issue. So, I made a technical drawing and sent it to Alice at Flux Laser Studio in Glasgow. She then sent me this fantastic piece, and we're going to glue it together, stain it, drill some holes in it, and then mount the lens. This looks great. I can't wait to shoot with this beautiful piece of glass. I find it fascinating to have such a close connection with history when using these period lenses. Knowing that this was in the hands of someone, and I know who that someone is pretty cool. I want to thank Dennis at Wet Plate Dreams for sourcing this lens for me. His website is a fantastic resource for period lenses, and I cannot recommend him and his lenses highly enough. Also, I want to thank Alice at Flux Laser Studio for my custom lens board. She's made a number of things for me in the past out of wood and acrylic, and she does great work. Thanks so much for being a part of this journey with me, dear patrons. Be kind to yourselves and stay safe. We'll see you again soon.